Feel the heart. Experience the soul. Community Pulse.
Nine minutes after 11 o'clock. Welcome back to Community Pulse on the radio 786 100.4 FM. It is Wednesday. This hour is reserved for social justice. I have in studio with me Sister Mahbooba Davids, and this is part 3 of our series on pathways to sexual courtesy. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Mahbooba.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sister Qadra.
And how are you doing this morning?
I'm very well, alhamdulillah. And you?
I'm very well, alhamdulillah. Now, Sister Mahbooba, the Pathways to Sexual Courtesy program has gathered and, it's garnered its own interest and listenership with the Radio 786 listeners. And last week we had a rebroadcast of part 2. You weren't under the weather. It's lovely to see the color back in your cheeks. And so this week we continue. This is part 3 of Pathways to Sexual Courtesy. Now, this week specifically we'll be placing special focus on circumcision and its link to masturbation. Now, for those of you who don't know, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, the Pathways to Sexual Courtesy series is a response to the government's intent to introduce a comprehensive sex education curriculum into our schools. Lots of people have had their issues with it. Lots of people have had their reservations with regards to the curriculum because they've obviously identified the problem with having such a curriculum within our school systems, but also within our society and within our communities, where there is this vacuum in terms of knowledge regarding love, relationships, and intimacy. And so this is us, providing the information to you so that you can have these conversations with your children, so that you are the first point of contact with this kind of information for them. Sister Mahbooba, this week we're looking at, we're looking at circumcision and its link to masturbation.
Yes, Sister Qadira, it's been really an overwhelming experience for me, Sister Qadira, to be able to have done this research. Yeah. And yet I had to also really internalize this whole concept, but the reward was like really so amazing. And that I want to share with the listeners today, and again you find how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He says something is haram or something is halal, that is for our own benefit. And that is for the preservation of the fitrah of the human being. Right? So, yes, alhamdulillah, we've really grateful for the feedback that we got from the listeners and the public, because even when I meet people, we get into conversation about this whole idea of sexual courtesy. Right? But that means we're talking the talk, alhamdulillah, yes. Right? And through these programs, we are actually we aim to look at the missing dimensions in sex and sexuality, and that missing dimension is actually Allah Almighty has been excluded from the discussions or dialogue with regards to sexuality, human nature, and its purpose, right? And society, as we know, gives us thousands of messages every day, suggestions with regarding to sex and sexuality, and we have decided, for the sake of the series, for today, of looking at part 3, to look at the concept of circumcision and masturbation. And of course, we're also celebrating November is when we celebrate men's health and celebrating men. We just recently celebrated International Men's Day on the 19th of November. And so we need to get clarity with regard to these kind of concepts. But as I was speaking to Zainab earlier, Sister Qadira, she is the programming person behind the whole idea, and she said to me, "No, Sister Mahbooba, go ahead with the topic, because these type of questions do come to us via table talk, right? So it's good that we can explore these kind of questions and give them to the best of our ability the best answer."
Yes.
So we will firstly be looking at what society has been telling about these two concepts, Sister Qadira. Sister Qadira, I'm really I think I'm an observant person.
Yes.
I observe things within society. And I don't know if the community have been seeing these mobile clinics going around offering free circumcision, offering free
to do free
circumcision to the public.
Yes.
And the mobile actually, it says that it's for health and sanitary reasons and the prevention of HIV and AIDS. So, but for me, was really remarkable to see how this whole idea of circumcision has been marketed. And if I can just sort of talk through that and tell the listeners what I've noticed and the lines that's being used for to market this whole idea is that it says Sunnat, just do it.
Okay.
Like that, and also improve your move.
Okay.
And it says further, skrik vir niks, Sunnat, just do it.
Okay.
Right? And further it says circumcise and condomize. Or if you are considering male circumcision, contact me and man up. Now this is the messages that's out there, Sister Qadira. We find these messages on Facebook, on social media, and this mobile clinic is actually moving around with these huge I would say marketing campaign that it must be done because for certain reasons, and that is for sanitary reasons as well as health reasons. So this type of messages we get from the health department. So it's also linked with condomizing, right? And also advertising and marketing circumcision with no purpose at all. Right? So we know that circumcision is an ancient practice.
Yes.
Right? It's practiced in various faiths and traditions. In the African tradition, we know, and it's it's being done for ages, and also through centuries as well. The Jewish community, as well as in Islam, as well as ancient tribes. Right? So, what if we tell you today, dear listener, that why circumcision is recommended? Why is it recommended? It goes beyond the health and sanitary reasons.
Yes.
Actually, we need to think about what about a moral protection? And when I was at a men's program the other day, Sister Qadra, and we were talking about the rites of passage, and we need to look at the significance of it, right? And this particular issue of circumcision actually came up. And when I mentioned about the moral protection behind circumcision, it was really this person who approached me couldn't understand and make the link how circumcision can have also moral value, right? And as it is recommended, that is done, it is done surgically and, or it's recommended rather to be done surgically and, or by a person who is surgically and ritually knowledgeable.
Okay.
Right? So some traditions, it's performed when the boy baby is about 7 days old or before puberty.
Yeah.
Right? We know that. And in some traditions, it means the end of boyhood. Right? And the beginning or the entry of manhood. Because the boy will always remember the wound.
Yes.
Right? Now, if the listeners can actually just think back a little bit about, I think, 20, 30 years ago, in our Muslim community, it was done, these particular practices, the boys were circumcised at the age of 7 or 8.
Yeah, I think even up until 10 years old.
Yes. As long as it happens before puberty.
Yes.
Right? So we remember today also that in Islamic countries like Turkey and Indonesia, it's a communal ceremony, right? Whereby these young boys are initiated into manhood. And there's a whole celebration around it. Right? So we learn that even though it's not mentioned in the Quran, circumcision is not mentioned in the Quran, but it has its moral and its spiritual. There's a moral and spiritual aspect to it. So Islam and other faiths actually believe in the refinement of the human being. Right? So other than the secular system, Islam and other faiths actually believe in the refinement of the libido of young people.
Okay.
Opposed to the secular system, the new morality actually suggests it, to excite the libido. That is the two different scenarios that we are sitting with today. The new age morality actually sort of focus on exciting the libido instead of refining it.
Yeah.
Now, coming back to masturbation, Sister Qadira, it is called in Islam istimna,
Okay.
right? And the Quran is actually very clear with
Feel the heart. Experience the soul. Community Pulse.